Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Chris Lee Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news, and of course we give you insight into what it all means. Joining me as always is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the show, coming to you live from Hollywood, California at the Stream.tv studios. We're so glad that you're joining us today. And listen, I want to remind all of you just once again, this Friday, a couple of days, at 3:30 in the afternoon at the LA Convention Center at Stan Lee's Kamikaze, AMC Movie Talk and our whole crew will be on the main stage there talking comic book movies. And of course, our very special moderator will be the star of Thor: The Dark World, Miss Jamie Alexander. Make sure you come on down and join us.
We also have joining us the director of the upcoming film, The Death of Superman Lives. What happened? Mr. John Schnepp.
Thanks. I love the way she says, what happened? What's going on? Yeah, we'll definitely be having a lot of fun this Friday, so hope to see you there in person. So
Be a lot of fun.
All right, well, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is getting closer and closer as it's set to hit AMC theaters everywhere on May 2nd, and some people have been wondering when we might see an official trailer. Well, yesterday, director Mark Webb took to his Twitter account in Middle-earth Elvish and wrote the following: "Watch for The Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer in front of The Hobbit in 3D. Don, are you excited for the Spider-Man 2 trailer to debut in front of The Hobbit?
I am actually kind of excited about it. You know what? It kind of, the shocking thing for me was when they said it's opening in front of The Hobbit, I had to go, oh yeah, it's actually getting close to when it's coming out, because for some reason in the back of my head, it still feels like Spider-Man 2 is still like a year away.
Yeah.
I love The Amazing Spider-Man. It was so great and so wonderful. I'm so excited for this. And I just love the fact that Mark Webb put the announcement up on his Twitter account in Elvish. That was pretty cool. So just one more reason for me to be excited about going to see The Hobbit in a couple of months. Schnepp?
yeah, well, Mark Webb, you're a big nerd. That's all I gotta say. And also, that poster, that picture reminds me of like Rocky 3. You know, that face-off thing.
Apollo and Rocky going head to head.
But yeah, I actually myself forgot that Amazing Spider-Man. It's coming out in 2014, right?
Yes.
My mind has always been, oh yeah, it's coming out in 2015 when every other movie on the planet is coming out. But actually, we get that flavor with X-Men. So
yeah, it's like only 6 months away now.
Yeah.
But you know what the funny thing is, too? I mean, look, I've said before, I'll say it again. I thought The Amazing Spider-Man was better in every way than the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Not better than Spider-Man 2, but I thought it was better in every way. I think Andrew Garfield is the absolutely right guy. I thought Mark Webb's done a great job directing. But yesterday, I'd be remiss if I didn't point this out. Yesterday we had, one of the questions came in saying, hey, why can't all the studios come together and do a Civil War movie? And I mentioned, we talked about rights and they can't do that. Spider-Man belongs to Sony, X-Men, Fantastic Four belong to Fox. Got a lot of people writing in and saying things like, everybody boycott Spider-Man 2 so that it'll fail, and then Sony will give up on Spider-Man and the rights will go back to Marvel. Okay, that is one of the dumbest things. And I think my own mother might have said this. And Mom, that is one of the dumbest things I have ever heard. The whole point as film fans is we want good movies. And guess what? Aside from Spider-Man 3, which was universally acknowledged as a big train wreck, Sony has done a magnificent job with the Spider-Man franchise. They've done a terrific job. And as a film fan, when it comes down to it, that is all that matters. I don't care if Marvel is the company behind it. I don't care if Sony's the company behind it. I don't care if I'm the company behind it. If they're putting out good product with movies that we enjoy and are fun, that's all that matters. And quite frankly, I don't want Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of my complaints of the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now is that it's starting to feel a little bit overcrowded. And one of the things that I said would happen is starting to happen. When Iron Man 3 came out, it's becoming harder and harder just to have standalone solo films. Because when Iron Man 3 came out, you had all these people on the chat boards, well, it's kind of stupid that the president was in danger and Captain America didn't come. Captain America should have showed up if the president was in danger. Like now suddenly, everybody's complaining because now this world, this cinematic universe that Marvel's made, which I love, but it's so overcrowded now with so many super beings that now everybody is just finding all these problems. Well, why didn't Thor show up and do this? Why didn't Captain America come and save the day? Where was Black Widow when the president was in trouble in Iron Man 3? And you're going to get more and more and more of that. I don't want Spider-Man thrown in that mix too.
Right.
Where being superpowered is no longer special because there's 50,000 characters in that universe. I like Spider-Man where he is, in his own universe, with his own collection of heroes and villains with him there. That's where I want him to be. Leave him there, and as long as they keep making good movies, it's all that counts. Once they start becoming all crap, then I'll start cheering for Marvel to get them back. Until then, I want him right where he is.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, I'm glad that Sony has Spider-Man, because that means that it's not conflicting. It's actually against Marvel's own superheroes. Even though they're all part of the same original family, we as viewers get more Marvel movies because other companies have the rights to these different characters.
Absolutely.
Like Fantastic Four and X-Men, they wouldn't be jamming it up with Spider-Man and X-Men and Fantastic Four and the Thor and Cap. Yeah, they couldn't possibly do it. That's why you only see like 2 or 3 releases at most from Marvel Studios. But since all these other characters exist at other studios, we as the viewers win. So yeah, and also, I mean, I think even Marvel's doing that with that shawarma scene, like at the end of Avengers. You'll get to see like, how come that guy wasn't there? Cut away to like Captain America sleeping. Why not? You can do that. It's like all part of one universe. Maybe he was doing something. He was fighting Arnim Zola or like, you know, some other weird goofball, MODOK. You know, you don't know what he's doing. He's not on call all the time. You don't live in the Marvel universe, you know? It's like, I don't either, but, you know. Actually, I wanted to say Amazing Spider-Man, it took me a couple weeks when it first came out to see it, because I was like, yeah, I wanted to see the Sam Raimi, you know, this and that. And when I actually eventually saw it, I loved it. I was actually shocked, because I was kind of against the whole brand new Spider-Man and doing the origin again, because I was like, they had just done it. But it was a really fun film, so I'm really excited about Spider-Man 2.
Awesome, me too.
A brand new trailer for the upcoming Martin Scorsese film, The Wolf of Wall Street, has hit the web. The Wolf of Wall Street is based on Jordan Belfort's best-selling memoir. The film chronicles Belfort's dramatic rise and fall on Wall Street, along with his hard partying lifestyle and tumultuous personal life, which included drug and alcohol addiction.
Are you sure this isn't a John Schnepp film?
The film stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Jonah Hill, and Matthew McConaughey, and opens in AMC theaters on Christmas Day. Schnepp, what do you think of the new Wolf of Wall Street trailer?
Yeah, what do you think of this new biography on your life, Schnepp?
It's very close, except for the millions. What a fantastic trailer. I love this trailer, and I'm so excited that it's coming out December 25th. It's literally a month and a half away, you know. And Jonah Hill surprised me so much in this trailer, this new version of this trailer.
Great?
He's hilarious, and yet really, I mean, he really rocks it right with Leonardo DiCaprio. And it had this little edge of Goodfellas to it, like a vibe, that flavor of like talking to the camera and flashbacks and things going wrong. So if it's on that level, which I feel like it is, I can't wait to see this brand new, re-energized Martin Scorsese film. So.
Yeah, after I saw the first Wolf of Wall Street trailer, I thought, this is a great trailer. I couldn't imagine the next trailer would be even better. And I think this one's better. And it shows us a totally different side of the film, too.
Yeah, totally.
And, you know, this one only gives us a little glimpse of Matthew McConaughey. But it's funny because a lot of people in award circles are saying this could be the year, the first year in history, that one actor could get 3 separate Academy Award nominations. They're saying he could get a Best Supporting Academy Award nomination for this film, for Wolf of Wall Street, a Best Lead Actor nomination for Mud, and another Best Lead Actor nomination for the Dallas Buyers Club, which is opening soon. Wow. So they're not saying it's going to happen, but it's just, this is the year of Matthew McConaughey. But one of the things that really gets me about this trailer is, I'm thinking that maybe this is the movie, finally. It took a number of years, but finally Hollywood started to recognize, you know what, Leonardo DiCaprio is a giant. He is a giant among actors. But the fanboy community is still on that Titanic thing, you know?
Right.
I'm wondering if this is finally going to be the movie where even the fanboy community sets up and says, you know what, Leonardo DiCaprio rocks. Yeah. And you're right, Jonah Hill looks great in this. Martin Scorsese, this looks... I haven't been this pumped to see one of his films in a long time. So yeah, I'm really, really stoked to see it.
And as a side note, I think now we all hopefully will get that additional flavor of the extra 45 minutes that they force Scorsese to cut.
Oh yeah.
Like when it's finally additionally released, or maybe they'll release like midnight movie version 3.5 hours at 12 midnight, you know? I mean, because why not do that? I mean, Anchorman 2 is talking about releasing like a completely alternate cut that only plays at midnight. Like Adam McKay's having the editor cut totally, every joke is different. Like because they did so much improv, so there's a completely different version that they're going to just play at midnight. That's what he's doing right now. So
I know.
I don't
know if the theaters will go for that, but it sounds pretty cool though.
Yeah.
All right, folks, listen, we've reached that part of the show called Buy and Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Crystal Lee has a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then Schnepp and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Crystal Lee, what do we got?
Earlier this year at the South by Southwest Film Festival, Evil Dead director Fede Alvarez told a crowd that that work had already begun on the script for a sequel to the hit remake. This sentiment was repeated in the following weeks in various interviews and then relative silence. Now, in a recent interview, Alvarez's co-writer Rodo Sayagues has revealed that he and Alvarez are off the project, saying the following: "Look, I'm sorry to tell you this, but that movie won't happen. Evil Dead 2 is not going to happen, at least not with us involved. We left that project many months ago because we preferred to put our energies in other things. I don't know if the producers still have intentions of making it, but what I can tell you is that we are not a part of that project." John, buy or sell Alvarez leaving the Evil Dead 2 project?
I sell this for a couple things. I sell that they're gone and off it, and I also sell the how stupid do you think we are, also kind of excuse. Yeah, you're telling me, oh yeah, in the months that followed the release of Evil Dead, you guys talking, yeah, we're already hard at work, we're excited about it, we're gonna do this next one's gonna be great, and then 5 months later you say, oh yeah, we left that project because we felt like working on other things. Really? You expect us to believe that? Obviously, there's something that went wrong, and we don't know what that is. I'm not going to speculate what it is, but it is unfortunate because I thought they did a terrific job on the Evil Dead remake. I know a lot of us, including me, was very nervous when it came out, but I thought it turned out really well. So it's an unfortunate thing, and it's unfortunate that they're treating us like we're stupid, giving us this line when we know that's not the case. Anyway, Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to buy that they're not making it. And I'm happy about that because I didn't like the Evil Dead remake. I loved Evil Dead 2 and I loved Army of Darkness. And now that Army of Darkness has officially been greenlit and Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell have already said they're doing it, that's why the Evil Dead 2 is dead. Along with it, it really didn't get that big of a box office, and it was mixed critical reaction. Like, I saw it, and if it was called anything else, I probably would have liked it, but that they called it Evil Dead. And basically it had no humor to it, which is part of the Evil Dead franchise.
Right.
That's what I didn't like about it. It had great, amazing gore effects and truly horrifying imagery, but them locking it down to a remake, they shouldn't have done it, I think. Or it just failed as a remake to me. So.
All right, what's next?
It looks like the Gerard Butler, Aaron Eckhart, Morgan Freeman action film Olympus Has Fallen is getting a sequel. According to reports, the new film will be called London Has Fallen, and we'll see Butler, Eckhart, and Freeman return. Schnepp, buy or sell London Has Fallen?
All I hear is the Clash. London falling. Yeah, so no, I sell it. I think, I'll admit I didn't see both of the White House Explodo movies. I know Chris Lee was talking about how she loves to see people explode and die and people running and then the White House exploding. But I just, I had other movies to see, so I just didn't see those two. I will eventually see them, in some outlet when I'm near sleep and a TV. But yeah, London Falling, I sell.
I'm going to buy this, actually. Oddly enough, I did see both of the White House blowing up movies. Olympus Has Fallen was the better one. White House Down was just a pile of steaming crap. It was just awful, and I was actually looking forward to that one. I wasn't expecting anything else. And look, this one, Olympus Has Fallen, was a dumb, brainless, but fun. Whereas White House Down was dumb, brainless, and not fun at the same time. And even though, the funny thing is, even though White House Down made a little bit more money at the box office than this one actually made profit, and White House Down lost money because this budget on Olympus Has Fallen was actually half price. Look, when I hear about London Has Fallen, though, I got to admit, all that comes into my head is Taken and Taken 2. It's the exact same thing, only now it's London that's fallen. So that's kind of cheesy, but because I did kind of have fun watching this one, as bad as it was, I'm going to give it a buy.
I will eventually see. What is it called again?
White House Down, Olympus Has Fallen?
Olympus Has Fallen, just because the director did Training Day. I like that director.
Oh, yeah.
I think his name's Gary Ross?
I don't think it was Gary Ross.
Fans, correct me on my illiteracy.
Gary Ross did Hunger Games.
Okay, no, it wasn't Gary Ross. Anyway, the guy did Training Day.
All right.
I have London bridges falling down repeatedly over in my head, over and over. Despite the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is listed on IMDb and the cast of the upcoming Fast and Furious 7, many speculated that he would not be appearing in the film since production is already well underway and Johnson was busy shooting his new Hercules movie. However, with shooting on Hercules now done, Vin Diesel put up this new picture of he and The Rock on set of Fast and Furious 7. John, buy or sell Dwayne Johnson indeed being in Fast and Furious 7?
Buy. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is like gravy. Put him on anything and it makes it better. Yeah, so this is great. And I was one of those guys who, even though he was listed as being in the film, I had my doubts that he was going to be in it at all. I mean, the Hercules shooting schedule, the Fast and Furious, but they wrapped up Hercules a lot faster than I thought they would. And I guess they just saved all his scenes for when he could get there. There he is. Look, there's a reason that the Fast and Furious films' quality and box office results went like this. And that was because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got involved. A lot of people think, no, it's just Vin Diesel. Nah, it ain't because of Vin Diesel. Although Vin Diesel's great in this series. He really, really is. Although I hated the first 3 films. But this is great news for everybody. Glad to see he's there. So for me, it's a buy.
Yeah, I buy it too. That picture, though, makes me think that Vin Diesel's on those weird jumpy sticks. Look how tall he is. I think they're both standing, and he's going to scrimp away like, look, I'm still Groot, you know?
I think The Rock's in a hospital bed in this one.
I don't want to think that way. I want to think that Diesel's on the jumpy
He just has
legs.
the whole Fast and Furious 7 on stilts.
Yeah, he's always on he's like, I'm Groot.
It's like halfway through the film for no reason whatsoever. What's his character's name again in Fast and Furious? Dom. Dom all of a sudden is just wearing stilts in every single scene, and you don't know why.
Yeah, I can't wait for I'm super happy The Rock is back. He's a great Pain and Gain. He made that movie for me, so you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Screen Gems has taken the rights to Mike Leigh's zombie thriller Patient Z. Patient Z takes place on a post-outbreak zombie apocalypse and follows the adventures of one man who has the unique ability to speak with the undead and who hopes to use his gift to discover a cure for the plague and his infected wife. Schnepp, buy or sell the sounds of Patient Z?
I buy it. I mean, I guess he's going to just hear them saying, brains. That's all he's... Can you say anything else than brains? I know you want to eat brains. What else are you thinking? But Patient Z, sure. I'm a big fan of zombie movies. I love The Walking Dead. I love Dawn of the Dead. I love all shambling, running, soft, weird, crawling zombies. So I'll see Patient Z, so I buy it.
Yeah, I'm going to sell it. I'm pretty... Now, World War Z was a pleasant surprise for me because it was a really different kind of take on the zombie thing. I got bored of Walking Dead really fast, to be honest with you. I'm bored of zombie films right now because they're all basically freaking the same. This one little twist about there's a guy who actually has the ability to communicate with the zombies, that's interesting. That could change my mind depending how they do that. But for right now, for me, it's a sell. All right, folks, listen, before we get into mailbag, coming up in AMC theaters everywhere officially on November 8th is the new Marvel film Thor: The Dark World, which I am incredibly stoked about. Now, this past weekend, I actually sent our very own movie news editor, Amy Rose Eisenbach, out to London to sit down and talk with the cast of Thor: The Dark World. And right now, we want to share a conversation she had with the lead of the film, Thor himself, Mr. Chris Hemsworth. Take a look.
So you presented a very different Thor in this film than we've seen him in the other ones. How would you describe his evolution to this point?
It's a more mature Thor. You know, I think in the first one there was he was a young, spoiled teenager when we met him, and by the end of the film he was beginning to transition into, I think, what we see here, which is you know, someone who understands the burden and responsibility of the throne, the weight that comes with it, and you know, approaches things with a little more intelligence. But there still is that same sort of temperament and slight naivety at times, you know, especially on Earth, which makes for some great humour. But yeah, it was nice to be able to come back and, you know, have another go at it.
So one of the reasons we love the story so much is the very polarizing and complex relationship of Thor and Loki. Mm-hmm. What do you think it is about that relationship that fans love so much, and how has it been working with Tom?
Tom's the best, you know, and I think in amongst this, the fantastical world and heightened reality or whatever, that when you have something that is as truthful as that relationship, you know, it's two brothers and siblings, and everyone can relate to that or in some way or another. And I think you know, it's the constant struggle of you want them to get along, you know, but they just go in two different directions, so you know, and you want Loki to be good, but he just keeps letting everyone down or going in somewhere else. And I remember reading the comic books and kind of thinking, why would he forgive him this much? Or why would he, you know, because they keep coming back together and he keeps trying to see if there's, you know, there's some good in there. And but as we play it, you know, and we have scenes that we've had that really kind of encompass, you know, the frailty of that relationship. I think it works, you know, and I think that's the exciting thing.
So Kenneth Branagh has so brilliantly laid out the groundwork for just this rich world and Asgard and everything, and Alan Taylor seemed like such a great fit to just continue expanding on the story and introduce more of the realms. What was his approach like, and just kind of the energy he brought to set?
I mean, I was a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and that's Alan Taylor's, or was his most recent sort of background. And this is definitely injected with that feel. There's an organic feeling to the sort of heightened reality of Asgard. And yeah, you're right. I mean, Ken laid it out perfectly and set it up, and I couldn't, having done the film now, I couldn't think of anyone better than Alan to take it on. The world he created was, I think, made it accessible, made Asgard feel like a real place, and and that's a challenge each time, is to humanise these characters and not let them drift off into the stratosphere of gods or whatever.
What is it like to be literally a hero to kids worldwide?
It's cool, It's, I mean, I think of films I watched as a kid, Star Wars and what have you, and now to be thinking that I'm in something like that of this generation is amazing, and that's the best thing. They're the best fans, are the kids. I had a kid a few weeks ago at the airport running around with a hammer, and it was funny because his mum said, "Oh look, it's Thor," and he turns around and looks at me and goes, "No, it's not," and he ran off smashing things with a hammer. I thought, that's it, I'm not Thor without the outfit.
And why do you think AMC theater audiences are going to love this movie?
Because it ties right in with what they've already loved and turned up to see, which is Thor 1, Captain America, Iron Man, and Avengers. And this is, it stays true to all of that, and it's a continuation, and, it's the next level or advancement of where these films want to head. So.
Great, well, I loved it, and we cannot wait to have it on AMC screens. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, for those of you who really want to get into it, on November the 7th, in participating AMC theaters all over the country, really, we are having a Thor marathon with Thor, the Avengers, then culminating in the very first screening of Thor, the Dark World. We're going to put a link in the description of this video where you can go and get your ticket and location information for that Thor marathon. Everybody who goes gets a special collector's poster, as well as a few other neat little things. So go on over and check that out. We'll see you there. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show called Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We get over 1,000 email questions a week, but we do have time to pick out a couple. Chris Lee's got a few of them picked out right now. So, Chris Lee, what do we got?
Spencer Bernard writes, I'm a recent subscriber to the show and watch it every day now. I'm a big fan of the original novel World War Z by Max Brooks and was excited when the rights were optioned by Brad Pitt's Plan B. At the time, it reportedly cost them somewhere in the high six figures. 7 years later, the movie comes out and has absolutely nothing in common with the book other than the title. Was it really worth the money for them to buy the rights for the title alone? Why not just make their own Brad Pitt zombie movie and save the money? I understand that in adapting a novel, not everything that works in the book will work in a movie, but tossing out everything to make a generic zombie action movie just seemed ridiculous to me. Any insights to how this happened? Thanks again and keep up the good work.
Well, I mean, it's kind of well known. First of all, I will correct you in one thing. To say that the movie is nothing like the book is a bit of an exaggeration. Is it a big departure from the book? Absolutely. And also, there's a lot of people realize this and know this, is that they went through a lot of very extensive reshoots. Like almost the entire second half of the film, they just gutted after they finished it and reshot it completely with a different kind of story because it wasn't working as a film. And they went back and made it a much better movie. Now, why go ahead and pay all that money, and really in Hollywood terms, a couple of $100,000 ain't that much money, but why pay that money if you're just going to make it a really different type of movie anyway? Here's why. World War Z made the studio a lot of cash. It ended up being very, very profitable when everybody was kind of worried it was going to be a big bomb and lose the studio a lot of money. Turns out being really profitable. If it did not have the title World War Z on it, I'm not sure it would have been as profitable. There is value there for the studio just to get the name. Just to get that name, because it was such a popular book. Get that name and attach it to the film, roughly base it on the book, as it was very loosely based on the book. And suddenly now you have a lot more brand recognition, more people become aware of it and can start anticipating it. So the amount of money they paid for the rights is insignificant next to the power of the Force, or next to how much money, extra money they made because it was titled World War Z. It was very worth it for them. Schnepp, how do you see it?
I see it. It's sort of like the way video cassettes and when you see a movie on DVD, it's like, you know, as seen in theaters. That's a selling point, as opposed to we just rushed this out. We don't even know who's in it, and you know, hey, check this out. It's sort of like a quality stamp.
Yeah.
So for movies, the quality stamp is usually from books.
Yeah, based on the best-selling novel.
Yeah. So to have that brings a certain prestige with it. That's kind of how that starts anyway. Why these books get sold for such a giant amount of money. If they're bestsellers, Hollywood sees that as, oh, we're going to be able to ride off of this, and then, you know, Pride and Prejudice as Zombies happens, but that's still in, you know, when is that ever going to come out? Probably never, you know. I don't know if that movie will ever get made, but World War Z did get made. Yeah, it's not like the book at all. It's a complete departure, but zombies are in it, you know? And it's a world full of zombies, so it's technically kind of close.
And anything in life, if you can spend $300,000 and that $300,000 you spend will make you $4 million, that's a value deal you make every time when you can. All right, so what's next?
Mark C. writes, hey guys, big fan. Now straight to the question. We know that Sony and Fox own the rights to produce films using certain Marvel characters like the X-Men and SpiderMan, and we also know that they are required to produce films using those characters within a certain period, or the rights revert back to Marvel. So is there any other way, aside from attempting to buy them back, that Marvel will ever get the rights to those characters back? Does the contract for those characters have an expiry that reverts the rights back no matter what, or will those studios keep those characters for as long as they make movies with them?
As far as I know, generally speaking, the deals are for perpetuity, so they go on and on and on and on. But the clauses in that deal, my background's in law, the clause in that deal that says you got to make a film every so often, that's just to make sure that, say, a Fox doesn't get their hands on Daredevil and then just puts him on the shelf. And nobody gets to make a Daredevil movie because we own the rights, and then, you know, and then take advantage of that by holding it hostage in many ways. And even though Marvel will be sitting there, hey, we'll make a Daredevil movie, give us Daredevil back. No, give us $2 billion for Daredevil. So basically, what that ensures is that as long as the studio wants that character, and will continue, and I think it's probably like every 6 or 7 years they have to be in production on a new film. Every 6, 7, or 8 years. I'm sure it varies from property to property. They have to be in production. That's just a failsafe to make sure that there isn't some great character that's just sitting on the shelf. So Sony has Spider-Man, and they're just going to keep making Spider-Man movies. As long as these Spider-Man movies keep making the insane amounts of money that they are, they will keep making them. They'll be in production on a new one every 4 or 5 years, probably every like 2 or 3 years, really now. So until Sony decides they don't want to make Spider-Man movies anymore, until Fox decides they don't want to make Fantastic Four movies anymore, much like they did with Daredevil, then yeah, you're never going to see them back in the hands of Marvel. And as I kind of expressed in the beginning of the thing, that suits me just fine. Not that I think Marvel will do a great job with them, but all of a sudden it becomes really crowded. Marvel's just one studio. They only have the capability of producing 2 or 3 films a year. So I don't want a Spider-Man film every 6 years, you know, so I'm more than happy with where they're at. Schnepp?
Yeah, it goes back to what we were saying a little bit earlier. I'm kind of disappointed that Daredevil went back to Marvel, unless they do it as a TV series. Because I think, you know, Joe Carnahan had a really cool take, doing like this kind of 70s, using the Born Again style comic book from Frank Miller. That would have been a cool movie. That they didn't want to go for it and gave it back to Marvel, let the rights revert back to Marvel. Now Marvel is technically sitting on it because they're like, hey, our slate through Phase 3 is complete. So we're not probably going to see a Daredevil movie. I mean, I'm not working at Marvel, so maybe they'll be like, ha, we're releasing it next year. We secretly
we're not going to see Daredevil in Phase 3.
It's just
earliest is going to be Phase 4, and I even doubt they're going to make a Daredevil in Phase 4. I think it's going to be, because the rights have gone back to Marvel,
right.
I think that pretty much ensures we're not going to see a Daredevil movie for 5 years.
Yeah, because what that's basically saying is we don't know what to do with this. Same with Ghost Rider and Blade. Here you can have these characters back. We tried. We did multiple versions of. We did Blade. We did a whole bunch of Blades. We did a Blade TV series. We did 2 different Ghost Riders. You know, it's like, here, you can figure it out. We'll do something else. So I think for Marvel, they're kind of like getting their characters back, and they're going to like just let time go by to let those other movies recede into the distance, and then come out with a new take.
Because you know, the funny thing here is, you know, They're not going to have Iron Man sitting on the shelf for long. They're not going to have Thor sitting on the shelf. They're not going to have Captain America sitting on the shelf. These are big money-making properties. And as they move forward in Phase 3 and Phase 4, they're going to introduce new characters here and there, see how they do, but they're going to want to make sure one of their cash cows is in there every year too. There's only so many slots to go around, and I just don't think it's going to be. I don't think we're going to see a Ghost Rider for a while, or a Daredevil, which is really unfortunate.
The thing about the contracts is, I mean, the whole reason they have those in place is, like you said, you want to make sure they're not sitting on a shelf, because even nowadays, just the comic books are used as like an advertisement for toys and movies, and so that's why even the comic books are still around. If you guys are comic book readers, you realize you have to buy those comics, because eventually, if no one's buying comics anymore, they're not going to publish them, you know, aside from just an advertisement for them to make video games and movies. So it's, you know, everything's woven together, you know. So if there's no Daredevil movie, that makes the comic book, you know, go down in value. So.
Well, all right, folks, that will do for us. We've run all the time. Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget, if you're not a subscriber yet to our YouTube channel, take a second and click on subscribe, become a subscriber. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show and our weekend AMC Mailbag show. I want to thank, first of all, the guy sitting to my right, the director of the upcoming film, The Death of Superman Lives What Happened, and who will be a panelist on this Friday's Stanley's Kamikaze AMC Movie Talk panel, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You can find me at John Schnepp at Twitter and Instagram. And yeah, I'll be there on Friday, so I hope to see everybody in LA on Friday.
And of course, freshly off the plane, just getting back from New York, where I exiled her for a couple of days, Miss Chrisley Kennedy. Chrisley, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chrisley, and I will be exiled to New York anytime.
And of course, you can find me on any of the social networks, just at John Campia. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. Don't forget, Friday, LA Convention Center, Stanley Kamikaze. Come and see us there. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name's John Campia. Until next time, bye-bye.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news, and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.